Spider-Man Far From Home spoiler review for you. Yeah. If you have not seen Spider-Man Far From Home, I made a non-spoilery review that you can go watch. And if you have seen it, then welcome. Yeah, so first of all, I kind of wanted to talk about my main gripe that I have with this movie. And that is to do with the way that they handle Peter's character. Yeah, so my main issue with it is that I feel like this MCU Spider-Man already kind of went through the arc that he goes through in this movie. So in Spider-Man Far From Home, he doesn't want to help out Nick Fury and Mysterio and Shield, I guess, with the Elementals, right? Because he wants to go on his trip. And it's like he already went through, struggling with, be doing high school stuff along with being a superhero. Like, he already did that in Homecoming. He already, learned the lesson that, you gotta be a hero. If you're a hero, then you have responsibilities. So, it was a bit odd for me, honestly, him opting to not help out and go on his school trip. And I get what they were trying to do with Peter not feeling like he's up to the challenge of being the next Iron Man or whatever, being the guy that replaces Tony Stark. Like, I understand that struggle, but I feel like this MCU Spider-Man, he wouldn't not help with the Elementals. Like, it's not just all, not being able to live up to Tony Stark. Like, he would still help out. So that was definitely weird for me. And again, I said that he already went through this in Homecoming. Like, this isn't just me having preconceived notions or whatever what the character should be or should not be, because I know that is that's definitely a lot of a lot of people have that sort of issue with the movie. And with me, it's not that. It's that you're just not being consistent with the character that you. Sorry, that was a burp. They just weren't being consistent with the character that they themselves have set up throughout this entire MCU. So, yeah, I would say that was my biggest gripe with the movie, and it was definitely the most jarring. The other gripe that I have with the movie is Mysterio. I think he was fine as a villain, and I think Jake Gyllenhaal, he's a great actor. He played it great. But I feel like he's too similar to Vulture. Vulture is a guy that was wronged by Tony Stark, and he became a villain because he felt like the powerful people are coming down on you, blah 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 blah. So now I'm gonna steal things and become a supervillain. Like that was Vulture, right? Mysterio, he's not like a working man, but Tony Stark, he didn't respect him, so the powerful man is coming down on you, blah 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 blah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, Michael Keaton was more of a working class type, and Mysterio is a scientist, but they were both guys that were wronged by Tony Stark, and they feel like they're both unappreciated in this world, so that's why they're going out. That's why they're lashing out against it. So it's a little bit too similar to Vulture, in my opinion. Like, I was shocked that you really decided to go with another guy that was wronged by Tony Stark. You couldn't do something else. So yeah, that was also another problem that I had with the movie. And yeah, but again, Gyllenhaal was great. The villain himself wasn't, it was basically just kind of Vulture again, except worse. Not as good. But that's another gripe that I have. What else? Yeah, also, so I hear a lot of people talking about how good the action in this movie is, and I don't really agree. It's better than Homecoming. I thought that Homecoming didn't really have much action that's really noteworthy at all. This one, it's and in Far From Home, it's better, but it's just not great. Like, say what you will about the Raimi movies, the action in the Raimi movies are incredible. And this one, like when Spider-Man is fighting the elementals, it's like you just fighting sand or fighting water, like Spider-Man just fighting sand and water. I don't know. It just wasn't very interesting. They didn't really do many interesting things with it. And when he's fighting Mysterio, like I thought the Mysterio illusion fights that they had were, Spider-Man was like, what's real and what's fake? Oh, like that stuff was kind of those were interesting. But what kind of brought those down for me is the CGI in those sequences. It was fucking terrible. And there are some instances of CGI in this that just look bad. And I mean, that stuff generally doesn't take me out, but honestly, like the Mysterio illusion fights literally look like PS3 cutscenes. That was shocking how bad that looked. That's like Black Panther and Killmonger fighting in the Wakandan subway station levels of bad CGI. I mean, again, the stuff that's going on with it is pretty cool, and actually, the bit where Mysterio leads him in front of a train, that was cold. That was fucking cold. But and yeah, so the action in this movie, and yeah, like the end when it's all done, they get rid of the holograms or whatever. Then it just turns into Spider-Man fighting a bunch of drones, which is not interesting. I mean, it's just not interesting. So yeah, the action in this, it's better than Homecoming, but still doesn't quite reach the heights of the action in the Raimi movies. Like, there's nothing in this that comes close to the train fight, or even the subway fight in Spider-Man 3. That was a fucking good action sequence, even though the rest of it, even though a lot of that movie isn't very good. So yeah, I don't know. Action's not that great. I've been negative, so let's talk about some positives. Tom Holland is still great as Spider-Man. The entire cast in this is great, actually. Tom Holland is great as Spider-Man. Ned, what's the guy? Jacob Batalon. He's great. He's great as Ned. He's not really in it that much, in my opinion. Like, I kind of wish he could have been maybe more involved, like he was in Homecoming, but what he was in, it was pretty great. I liked his little relationship with the girl from the IV class. Is that what it's called? IB, like the video production class. She's like the anchor, the school anchor. I liked their little relationship. It was fun. It was funny. I don't know. I kind of wish that they wouldn't have broke up at the end. Like, it's like. Also, I will say this movie kind of leaned a bit too much in the comedy side aspect of it, and I know I said I was going to talk about positives, but it kind of goes into Ned and the relationship with the girl. But it's like they start having a relationship, and I think it's cute, and then they just break up at the end for the sake of a joke. It's like, that could have been interesting, in a future movie, his relationship with this girl, but you broke them up just to have a little gag at the end that honestly wasn't even that funny, with Ned being like, oh, lovers sometimes drift away or whatever. It's like, I don't know, you didn't really need to do that. The joke really wasn't worth it, because that could have led to more story opportunities down the line. But that's one relationship that didn't work. But one relationship that did really work for me was Tom Holland and Zendaya. Peter and MJ. I thought, I really like Zendaya in these movies. I don't really know that much else. I don't really follow her anywhere else, so, I know some people don't really like Zendaya. I guess maybe it's backlash from her Disney Channel days or whatever, but I think she's fine in these movies. Actually, no, I think she's great in these movies. I never, honestly, in terms of MJ relationships, I would have to put this as number 2, because I don't think that Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst had any chemistry. And then I think Tom Holland and Zendaya have a lot of chemistry. But I actually still think that. Oh yeah, well, Gwen Stacy wasn't in the Amazing Spider-Man films, but in terms of Spider-Man relationships, I'd still put Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone on top. But I think Tom Holland and Zendaya are solid. I think they're really cute. I think they pull off the teen romance really, really well. They're both like really awkward, and they're not exactly sure, if if each other likes each other or not. I thought all that was cute. So yeah, like all the teen cast they're just as good as in the first movie. But again, I feel like with the teen cast, it's like I feel like they maybe went a little bit too hard with the comedy. Like, I don't know. I would have liked to have seen like Flash Thompson get some emotional arc or something, because I think there's a lot of interesting things that you could maybe do with Peter and Flash Thompson. Maybe developing some type of friendship or something. Like they've done in the Amazing Spider-Man in movies, or in like Spectacular Spider-Man, where Peter and Flash kind of start becoming friends. I don't know. I would have liked to seen some more drama with the kid cast. Like, I feel like they kind of just focused a lot on comedy with them, and a lot of it was funny. Don't get me wrong, but when I'm gonna watch a Spider-Man movie, I don't just want goofs and gaffs. But it's fine. Yeah, you're gonna get the sense a lot with this movie. A lot of this movie is just fine to me. But yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal, he's great as Mysterio, and yeah, like again, like the Mysterio character wasn't bad. It just, I feel like it wasn't different enough from Vulture, and it also wasn't nearly as good as Michael Keaton's Vulture. Samuel Jackson is actually back as Nick Fury, and so here's the thing with what they decided to do. So in the post-credit scene, they reveal that Nick Fury was actually the Skrull from Captain Marvel. I can't remember what his name is, but he's like the Skrull that just so happened to be the best part of that movie, which is that's I made a Captain Marvel review. You can go watch that, but so they kind of reveal that Skrull has been Nick Fury the entire time, and I'm kind of mixed on it, because the entire time I was watching this movie, I was just thinking to myself, like, damn, they're making Nick Fury kind of an idiot, aren't they? And then they reveal that he was actually a Skrull the entire time, and part of me was like, oh, okay. But then also part of me was like, oh, well, you just erased all Peter's relationship with Nick Fury. You were starting to develop that in this movie, and then you just erased it all, which is just like, okay. Like, yeah, I was, sure, like, they're watching the movie, I was thinking, like, man, they're kind of making Nick Fury an idiot, but I kind of would have rather had that than just have all this character development just erased for the movie for a funny post-credit scene gag. Like, I don't know. And then they revealed that Nick Fury was like, it looked like he was taking a vacation, but it turned out he was actually like in a spaceship. So I wonder if they're gonna start making Shield a thing in the MCU, or not Shield, a Sword, I think it's called, which is like the space shield. They're like the space defense force for Earth. And if that's the case, then that's cool. We'll probably see that in... What movie would we see that in? Captain Marvel? Maybe the next Captain Marvel will be in modern day. I don't know. But, yeah. Again, I'm kind of mixed on the Nick Fury thing. On the one hand, it's cool that he's not an idiot, but on the other hand, they just erased all of Peter's, relationship that he kind of started developing with him. And, yeah, who else? Oh, yeah, I liked Happy in this movie. But again, like, even with Happy and Aunt May, like, they start developing a relationship, which is nice, and it's cute, and then for, like, a funny gag, they're like, oh, are you guys dating? And Happy says yes, and, Aunt May starts doing, like, this whole thing of, like, oh, it's just a summer fling or whatever, bro. Like, and it's like, okay, it's cute, it's funny, but, like like I don't know, Happy and Aunt May had being in a relationship would be an interesting story, plot that they could do at some point in the future. And they're like they're like saying it's not a thing for a cute little joke in the movie. And it's like, okay, like you're just like not really taking interesting storylines that you could go with just for the sake of having funny gags. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I would read too much into that. Maybe they will have a relationship or something. Because it's like, yeah, that'd be an interesting story thread to pull on. I don't know. And but speaking of Happy, also I really liked his relationship with Peter in this movie. That's definitely something that really worked in a dramatic fashion. I really loved the scene where after Mysterio forces Peter like back up into onto train tracks, and then a train hits him, and then like Peter's like freaking out when he comes to, and he doesn't know, when Happy meets him in the field, he like has to make sure that it's actually Happy. And like when he starts crying and he hugs him, like I thought that was a beautiful scene. And Tom Holland really nailing the fact that Peter is still a kid, and like Tom Holland really shows that vulnerability well. And the whole scene where they're in the airplane, and I really love the moment where Happy, like where Peter is like making his new suit, and Happy puts on the AC/DC music. Like, that was so beautiful. And I really just wanted more of that. Just more really good movie. If that makes any sense. Like a lot of this movie, unfortunately for me, is just, okay, this is a fun Marvel movie. But I kind of want more from my Marvel movies than just a fun Marvel movie. Like, a lot of this was just kind of... It's like kind of like an Ant-Man and the Wasp. It's kind of like a Captain Marvel. It's just like, it's fine. It's good. It's fun. But at this point, I kind of expect more from my Marvel movies. And by the way, I loved Spider-Man: Homecoming. I thought Spider-Man: Homecoming was fantastic. But yeah, this movie, again, with Peter like figuring out responsibility or whatever, like you did that in Spider-Man: Homecoming. Why are you doing it again here? A lot of interesting story threads, right? Where Peter is developing his relationship with Nick Fury. Nope, it's not actually Nick Fury. Ned has a girlfriend. They might be developing a relationship. Nope, let's just end it all for a gag at the end. Happy and Aunt May might be developing a relationship. Nope, we're just gonna end it for a bit of a funny gag, and it's like, give me something other than jokes. And sorry, like I said before. Peter's relationship with Happy, that festering, like, that was beautiful. I thought Peter and MJ's relationship, I thought that was beautiful. But I wanted more of that. And I mean, actually, I should talk a bit more about Mysterio, because he's not as bad as I'm making him out to be. Like, I think it is interesting. Like, if we hadn't gotten the Vulture, I think I'd probably say that he's a pretty solid villain. And he is, but it's just kind of brought down a bit by the fact that we just got a villain very similar to him. Yeah, like, honestly, like, if they would have had him be, like, not... If they would have just gone away from the whole, he was the guy that was wronged by Tony Stark, I might be singing a different tune, but it just all felt very derivative to me. And, I mean, just like Vulture, he was like, well, I don't want to kill the kid. Like, he didn't want to kill Spider-Man because he kind of likes Spider-Man. Like they just did the Vulture again. Like, everything that the Vulture did, Mysterio just happens to do it. So, yeah, it's just, I don't know. A lot of people love this movie, and I'm happy for you if you love it. I just don't love it. I think it is a fun, solid Marvel movie. It's just does not reach the heights that Homecoming did for me. But yeah, that's just kind of my rant, I guess. Was there anything else that I really... Oh, I almost forgot. J.K. Simmons is back as J. Jonah Jameson. Never mind. 10 out of 10. Best movie ever. No, so in the last post-credit scene. You know, Peter, he takes MJ out for a swing or whatever, and, you know, MJ doesn't like it, but when he puts her down, you hear a familiar voice on in Times Square on one of the fucking, what are they called? What are they called? The giant TV screens on the side of buildings. I forgot what they're called. Billboard, I guess. Is that what it's? It's a billboard, right? I don't know. Whatever. You hear a familiar voice, and it's J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson, and the greatest fucking actor to ever, the greatest actor to character adaptation is back. All right, you know, people say Iron Man is the greatest comic book movie casting. People say fucking Wolverine is the greatest comic book movie casting. People say Heath Ledger's Joker is the greatest comic book movie casting. But they're all wrong, because the greatest comic book movie casting of all time is, in fact, J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson, and he's back. And honestly, for that reason alone, I am, like, the next Spider-Man movie is, like, my most anticipated movie of all time. But no, seriously, so, actually, a lot more interesting things to talk about with this post-credit scene. So, Mysterio, he doctored footage, and he basically says that he's revealed that Peter Parker is, in fact, Spider-Man, and he made it look like Spider-Man killed him. And so, yeah, that's setting up J. Jonah Jameson hating Spider-Man now. And, so, here's the thing with this. If the next movie is going to be all about Spider-Man having to prove that Peter having to prove that he's not Spider-Man, if that's what the next movie ends up being about, cool. That's great. But if they, I don't know, if they, like, just have it be that everyone knows that Peter's Spider-Man, then that's gonna kind of suck for me. Because, okay, look, I don't know, maybe it'll be great, but Peter having a secret identity and having to balance being a superhero and being a normal guy or kid, that's kind of what Spider-Man is all about. And, if they just have everyone know that he's Spider-Man, I just don't know if that's just gonna be as interesting. And I mean, that's a pretty important element to his character, so obviously with that's gonna have to be we'll wait and see. But I don't know, I'm worried. Yeah, so we'll see what they do with Spider-Man in the future. Again, I didn't hate this movie, I just didn't love this movie. And I am cautiously optimistic about the third Spider-Man movie. I hope that they just don't, I hope that they don't go too far with the comedy again, and just, like, along with the comedy, get, like, with a good amount of comedy, also give us a good amount of just good drama, which I thought this movie kind of lacked a bit in certain areas where I thought it maybe could be interesting, right? Where they were setting up some story threads that we could go down, and then they just kind of like, nope, it's a joke, let's just have a little joke. So yeah, I don't know, I've been ranting for 24 minutes, so yeah, that's basically gonna be it for this video. If you like this movie, please give me your thoughts down below. And yeah, like, again, if you love this movie, that's great. Like, I'm one of the outliers, because I mean, like, yeah, I think this movie has like a 90 something on Rotten Tomatoes, so people are loving this movie. And yeah, I'm obviously in the minority, so if you enjoyed it, or again, I did enjoy it. I like it. I just don't love it. So if you loved it, please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And I don't know, check out the gaming channel. I have a gaming channel. Check it out in the description below. Follow me on Twitter if you want to tell me to kill myself because I don't love Spider-Man Far From Home. Bye.